Guitar player from Berlin, and I want to introduce you to my practice journal today. I developed like a routine where it is flexible and efficient at the same time. I think we all know the overwhelm of having so many exercises, so many things we want to learn, and on the other hand sometimes we're sticking with stuff way too long, and I try to find some kind of a compromise with my system, and let's get right into it. So first of all, I really like this Leuchtturm journal. It has a dotted page and I'm using pens that I got from a shop here in Berlin. It's called Bösner. I only can highly recommend it. And you don't need all those pens, but I'm still going to show them to you because they're really cool. This pen is really great because it's really black and I like that. It's easy to write with it. Also do a little bit of drawing. I use this black pen here, which has like two, different tips, I guess. Bought an array of pastel colored highlighters. Of course, you don't need to have all that stuff. A pencil and a rubber and any journal will be like perfectly fine. So I start the first page with an overview of the practice hours that I've been practicing in 1 month. Don't get too anal. I mean, you can really drive yourself crazy. I'm sure I was like, did I practice 11 minutes or maybe 11 minutes and 30 seconds? So that's not about that. It's more about like having something where you can see that you did practice and how much you did practice. And the next page is already super important to me. It's my motivational page. I'm listening to so much music and I'm getting so many recommendations for music. And then if I want to listen to music, sometimes I don't know what I want to listen, I can't find the artist, so I assemble them all here. I write down the names of the music, and I also have a Spotify playlist where I have the same music so that I just can access it really quickly. And I try to make a division between music that's more like you need to know that music, like didn't you hear the Miles Davis quintet recording of Stella by Starlight? What? You don't know that? So, of course, a lot of this stuff exists for professional musicians, but I also try to write down music that I just enjoy and that I don't need to know, the stakes are really high, but just like, be honest, and so write down a lot of other music so that if I'm feeling down or maybe I don't want to practice, just let's try to listen to something that relaxes me. I have 2 columns, and here as well I'm making a separation because, as you probably know, there are like a ton of standards you're supposed to know, especially if you're calling yourself a professional musician. You're going somewhere, somebody's calling a tune and you don't know it. It can be really embarrassing. So I'm trying to write those tunes on the left column. There are thousands. I'm sticking to them that I remember and that annoy me the most. But the good news is, in this way, I'm clearing my brain to make another list for the songs that I really want to hear and listen and practice and play. And I think that that's so important to really find the stuff that really excites you and give that some space in your practice schedule. So I'd like to organize my practice content into categories. I have 3 categories at the moment that can change over time, and then I write down exercises that I'd like to do in this category. So those categories, you can use them really flexible. I'm going to explain it in a minute, but essentially you can pick exercises from those categories every day. One thing that I'm not changing is my warm-up routine. I'm thinking the first minutes of your practice routine are extremely important. So I have a very long warm-up routine of 30 minutes. You don't have to do it like this. You can just pick one of those things that I do. So I'm starting with a meditation for 10 minutes. I discovered the Headspace app. I can only really recommend to do that. It really helps me focus. And then I'm doing like a 10-minute legato exercise. Talking about this exercise before. It's really slow and really forces you to listen, and then the next 10 minutes I'm discovering a sound that I'm attracted to. So at the moment it's just like quartal harmony, and I'm recording like a pedal on my looper. And those are my 30 minutes. And so then I just have a page for every day that I'm practicing. I write down the date and the day, and then I'm just starting with my warm-up. And after the warm-up, that is always the same thing. I'm picking one exercise from the category, and I'm going to play it for 20 minutes. And if I'm getting really deep into it, I'm enjoying this exercise, might practice it for another 20 minutes, or I'm choosing another etude. So I'm mostly having 20-minute exercise. It could also be 10 minutes, it's also cool. But after those first 2 exercises, I would have a break. I get some coffee, I listen to a motivational podcast, I stare out of the window, and I just relax. And it's also my delayed gratification, you know, the concept that you don't get what you want immediately. And in my case, this is the coffee, and that works really well for me, because when I get back to the second half of my practice session, the coffee starts to work. And then most of the time I have the best time of my practice session. I pick another exercise from another category, and I just write that down. Maybe I write down how many minutes I've been practicing so I can track it in the beginning of my journal. And I also try to evaluate what I'm doing. So how am I feeling? Am I bored? Then it might be time to spice things up. Overwhelmed, stressed out, just like write it down. And last but not least, I have an extra page where I track, it's my so-called habit tracker, which categories I have been using more than other ones. So I have the dates again and the different categories: tunes, transcriptions, and technique. And then I just highlight what I did, from which categories I did practice every day. So if at the end of the month I see I did only pick the category transcription for 2 times, don't don't feel guilty, but just like think, why didn't I do it? And try to understand what's blocking you, find different exercises. And in the case of transcription, it can be that the stakes are just too high. So maybe you start with something easier, and that could be to buy a transcription. I made a lot of transcription myself, so you can get them here, and then just start with a transcription where you already have the music notation in front of you, because this is going to help you for further transcription to see how it's actually written down. So if you like this video, you might also like this video. Those are 8 jazz exercises that I came up with, chords and scales. Just have a look and have fun practicing. If you have any questions or comments, write them down in the description box below, and I see you next Monday. Bye!